Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Dhanlaxmi Medida and today we are going to learn punctuations. Now before we start, I want to tell you why do you need to understand punctuations. Now look at these two sentences. They are both similar. Let's eat grandpa. But in the second sentence, if you see, there is an additional comma. Now when you add the comma to this sentence, the meaning of the sentence becomes, let's eat grandpa. Chalo dadaji khana khate hai. But if you remove this comma, the meaning of the sentence becomes let's eat grandpa. Matlab chalo dadaji ko khate hai. So if you do not want to eat your grandfather, let us begin with the lesson. So in this lesson, we will be covering these punctuation marks. I'll be teaching you the use of full stop, which is also called as period, ellipsis marks, comma, colon, semicolon, question mark, exclamation mark. So let us begin with the first one. Now before we begin, one more rule I want to tell you, very simple rule. If you are typing on a computer and you want to use any of these punctuation marks, you have to use one space. Except for the punctuation mark hyphen, you do not use any space in hyphen. Other than that, you have to use space between the two words. Let's start with the first punctuation, full stop. Full stop, also called as period. We use this at the end of a sentence, which is a statement. I'll give you an example. I know that you would never break my trust intentionally. Full stop. But if the last word in the sentence ends in a full stop, do not use another full stop after it. For example, I know that MD. She is my sister-in-law. Here after MD, we did not use another full stop. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Ellipsis mark. Ellipsis marks are also called as the three dots that you use. Remember, do not use more than the three dots. This mark indicates that the sentence is incomplete. The thought process is still going on. Okay, so I'll give you an example. The regulation states all agencies must document overtime or risk losing federal funds. Now this is a very long sentence, right? So you can rewrite it using these ellipsis marks. So you can say the regulation states all agency must document overtime ... Okay, let's move on to the next one. Comma. Comma is the most incorrectly used punctuation. So let's begin with it. A comma is used to separate words, a group of words. Okay, so let's look at the example. My property is to be split among my husband, daughter, son and nephew. So here to distinguish or to separate husband, daughter, son and nephew, we have used comma. Also remember, there is something called as Oxford comma, where if you see carefully between son and nephew, we have placed one more comma. If we remove this comma, then it becomes son and nephew together. So the property will be split in three parts. If you do not put a comma after son, the division of the property will be three parts: husband, wife, son and nephew together. But if you want to divide it into four parts, you must include a comma after son. Also we use comma to separate two adjectives, okay, like he is a strong, healthy man. Comma is also used before the name or title of a person directly addressed. For example, will you, Aisha, do that assignment for me? Yes, doctor, I will. Next is comma is also used to separate the day of the month from the year and after the year. For example, she talked to her husband on December 5, 2003, in Mill Valley, California. Okay, so many commas are used to separate the day and the year. We also use comma to set off expressions that interrupt the flow of the sentence. I am, as you have probably noticed, very nervous about this. So here the comma was used to separate ideas. Further, if something or someone is sufficiently identified, the description following it is considered non-essential and should be surrounded by commas. Freddy. Now we are identifying Freddy. So the description of Freddy will come in after comma. Freddy, who has a limp, was the only person available with required qualification. Let's look at the next punctuation mark. Colon. Colon is represented with 2 dots vertically placed. Now colon is used to introduce a list of items when you use introductory words such as namely, for example, or that is. Okay. So in place of all these words, we use colon marks. For example, I want the items namely butter, sugar, and flour. So here if you want to replace namely, the sentence is like this. I want the following items, colon, butter, sugar, and flour. Also, a colon should never precede a list unless it follows a complete sentence. Look at the example here. I want an assistant who can 1. Input data, 2. Write reports, and 3. Complete tax forms. Now this sentence is incorrect grammatically. How do you make it correct grammatically? By using colon. So the sentence is reframed like this. I want an assistant who can do the following, colon, A. Input data, B. Write reports, comma, and C. Complete tax forms. Let's look at the next punctuation. Semicolon. Okay. Semicolon is used in place of full stop to separate 2 sentences where the conjunction has been left out. You know the conjunctions and, or. So instead of these conjunctions, we use semicolon to join 2 separate sentences. Let's look at the example. Call me tomorrow, semicolon. I will give you my answer then. These 2 sentences are joined with this semicolon. I have paid my dues, semicolon. Therefore, I expect all the privileges listed in the contract. Also, you use the semicolon to separate units of a series when one or more of the units contain commas. For example, this conference has people who have come from Lahore, Pakistan, semicolon, Bombay, India, semicolon, and Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Let's move on to the next punctuation mark, which is question mark. Question mark is used when we are asking a direct question. For example, will you go out with me? Also, you use a question mark when a sentence is half statement and half question. For example, you do care, don't you? So here the sentence is half a statement and the rest of it is a question. Now let's move on to the next punctuation mark, which is exclamation mark. Exclamation mark shows emphasis or surprise. So here is the example. I'm truly shocked by your behavior. Here we use the exclamation mark at the end. So that's all for today, guys. So I hope you have learned a lot from this video. We have covered a lot of punctuation marks in this lesson. We will cover the remaining ones in the next lesson. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like my channel, please subscribe to the channel. We'll meet in the next video. Till then, have a nice time.